What's going on, Big Blue Banter listeners? Nick Falato here to discuss the New York Giants' second-round selection, safety out of Minnesota, Tyler Nubin, the second consecutive season. The Giants spent their second-round pick on a Minnesota Golden Gopher. Tyler Nubin was my number one safety in this draft class. If you paid attention to this podcast, I've been talking about him for quite a while, and I absolutely love his fit in Shane Bowen's defense. And as you'll hear in a bit, this is a player who is accustomed to creating turnovers. And that is something the New York Giants have needed for quite some time.
Yeah, I would say that he takes the ball away. The 13 career interceptions, he's a ball hawk. And to me, again, the leadership, the character, the smarts, safety, the ability to communicate out there, get guys lined up, I think is very important. And this kid's elite at those type of things. But we were very fortunate to get Nubin there, a guy that we spent a lot of time with. He had an injury. We went out to his pro day when he was healthy to see him out there. And obviously, losing an X in the offseason, to get Nubin at that value, a guy with high character, leadership, smart, tough, dependable, and then the 13 career interceptions, and just a good football player, culture changer at the University of Minnesota, and he's going to bring that type of mentality here, and I think that'll come out tomorrow when you guys meet with him and spend some time with him. Just a really special kid that's a good football player.
And one of the ways Tyler Nubin creates these turnovers is through preparation, which he expressed to the New York media in his opening press conference.
I think it's my preparation and how I attack the game every week and how I prepare. I think it's second to none. The way I go about studying the offense and studying the offensive coordinator, studying a quarterback, his tails, what he looks like when he's dropping back in the pocket, his set foot, his release points. If he does something like pat the ball before he releases, things like that. That's what gives me my edge when I was in college, and that's what gives me my edge in this game, is preparing. So I think that's what's going to keep carrying me to do that in the NFL as well.
Do you remember the first time you ever turned on to that kind of thinking? When did it happen?
No, definitely when I got to college, just learning under guys like Tweez, like Jay Howe, all those guys, just how to watch film and how to prepare for a game. That's how we did that in Minnesota, and that's how we made plays.
Shane Bowen is going to run a lot of quarters, palms, two read, two high type of coverages where communication and the mental processing of the safety is crucial to the down-to-down success. I absolutely love how Tyler Nubin leverages his elite peripheral vision and baiting skills while being disciplined in coverage to jump routes and make quarterbacks pay for bad decisions that he disguises as good decisions. So let's get into the tape and show what I'm talking about. Nubin is at his best from depth, where he can scan the field and interpret what the offense is trying to do to his defense. On this play that you're seeing right now, you see an inverted cover 2 type of look where it appears pre-snap that Tyler Nubin might be a middle of the field closed safety, although that safety at the top of the screen looks like he might have been behind Nubin. Regardless, Nubin just stays put, and then he is just reading and baiting this quarterback to throw the football. One of the things I absolutely love about Nubin, and this is going to translate so well to what Shane Bowen wants to do, is he is so good at undercutting backside routes. And he does this very frequently. You could see it on this play. Watch 27. Just watch how he is baiting this quarterback. This quarterback, follow the stripe of his helmet. It goes to the quarterback's left. And you can see Nubin just start to shade and shade. He stays square, but he shades and shades. And once that decision is made by the quarterback, you'll see this all throughout this tape. Nubin, he explodes out of his stance and he puts himself into a position to intercept it. And he does on this play. And another aspect of his game that we should all respect is this guy has receiver type of ball skills. That's extending away from your frame, plucking it out of the air. He does that all throughout his tape. You're going to see it a lot here. Tyler Nubin spoke about his preparation, and it's so obvious to see. He is a film junkie. Said he learned that from Antoine Winfield Jr. of the Buccaneers. And that's the primary way he wins, is through understanding what his assignment is and baiting quarterbacks into making terrible mistakes. He's not the most fluid athlete. His RAS score at his pro day, it was pretty bad. And I think there's some context there. He had knee surgery on his lateral meniscus after the season. He was playing through that injury through his final 6 games of the year. And I don't believe that tape was all that great. If you watch like the Wisconsin game, there's some bad tape. You'll see some of those plays in this video, but he rushed back from that surgery. And I think that's one of the reasons why the testing was so bad. He's not a great athlete, though, on film. He's a long strider. He can accelerate. He clocked over 21 miles per hour in 2023, but he's a little bit stiff in his transitions. He's not the most fluid. The long strides allows him to have range, but he's not a true post type of safety, but he's an ideal cover 2 safety, a deep half safety, or a quarter safety. Like we'll see on this play, he's going to take the deep half. He's aligned outside the numbers. You can't really see it because the camera angle is bad, but you can see this is a quarter half. It's going to be a cover 6 defense. He's tasked with the cover 2 side of the cover 6, and he's going to make this quarterback pay for trying to slip the football into the honey hole. And he does. He's explosive out of his break once he determines where he is going. If he doesn't have to really flip his hips. It's not necessarily a man coverage type of safety either. And I want to go through this play just because I scanned over it talking about valuable context. Look at how damn disciplined he is. The quarterback tips off where he's going with the football. He turns initially, and you can see Nubin, who's gaining depth initially, stops gaining depth and then just starts shading towards that hash mark. Shade. Football is out. It appears to that quarterback like, oh, wow, I have this edge who is the middle hook defender. He's not in position. I'm going to have this skinny post. No, you're not going to have this skinny post quarterback because Tyler Nubin is a safety. And you can see how explosive he is, and he takes great angles with excellent timing. There's a reason why Tyler Nubin was not penalized in coverage over the last 2 seasons. He's very, very disciplined, and it shows up on tape. Went through this play. You can see him ball hawk. Joe Sheen was right. Guy's got ball hawking skills. As you'll see, get 1 foot down in bounds, secure the football. 13 interceptions. It's nothing to sneeze at. On this play, look, he's a little bit late to break down on this horizontal cross. You could see the transition there. It's not a terrible transition. It's a little bit upright, but that's fine. But then it's the angle. He takes an angle staying over the top. So if this catch is made, he's going to be able to make the tackle. But it was a bad throw because quarterback gets hit. It was an overthrow. And because of the angle that Tyler Nubin took, positioned himself in a manner where he can come away with this interception with a good diving catch. And he does that well. He has those acrobatic ball skills, as we talked about. And he's also really good at the catch point because of the discipline and just uses the right technique, which we'll see, to force PBUs. We're going to see him playing center field again. This is just a tipped pass that he's able to adjust to. But even if this ball wasn't tipped, this is going to be an interception. A lot of these are just quarterbacks being very confident over the middle of the field. And if you're going to try to challenge the middle of the field with Tyler Nubin roaming, it's going to be a problem for you. Like you're going to have to really look him off. And even if you do that, Nubin does such a sensational job working through the backside routes, using the peripheral vision, as I discussed a little bit earlier in the video. He actually has some return ability. It's not going to be a kick returner or anything, but there are plenty of plays where he comes away with the interception and he picks up significant yardage after the pick. This is another aspect of his game that I really love and respect is much of the NFL and college football. It's just putting defenders into conflict and occupying their eyes with routes. Tyler Nubin sees through that, processing through the roof, the film study, as he said, through the roof. And this is a good example of that. You're going to have a post wheel type of play where Tyler Nubin's initially aligned over the number 2, which is the tight end in line. You can see how he's going to go to the flat, and the number 1 wide receiver, who's at the top of the numbers initially, he's going to release directly at Tyler Nubin. That's deliberate. That's not by accident, right? He releases directly at him and then goes outside of him, creating that pick. That's the tell for the quarterback to throw the wheel route against the defender who's a little bit shallow by the numbers. But Nubin understands that at this point. So Nubin does not take the bait, does not gain depth on the bait route. Instead, he stays square, and then once the quarterback starts to show any sign of throwing this football or burping the baby, as Tyler Nubin alluded to patting the football in his press conference, he just takes the angle towards the ball and makes the interception. Is it the best throw? No. But I still think Tyler Nubin did himself enough favors to intercept this pass if it was thrown a little bit more outside and upfield. That's a very controlled athlete when he is moving in this little side straddle too, you could see. His eyes are on the football this entire time, tracking concentration, coordinated type of movements. Get the football, interception. And here's another play, absolutely love. Recognizes this backside route because the Minnesota Golden Gophers, they're running a cloud over the top of this wide receiver at the bottom of your screen. You can see at the snap, Tyler Nubin is on the hash, and then he's going to flow over the top and get to the numbers. Once he gets to his landmark, and you can see how they're clouding this receiver. They're playing underneath with number 2, the cornerback, and then over the top with Tyler Nubin. They're paying attention to this wide receiver at the bottom of your screen right now. But Tyler Nubin gets to his landmark, and he doesn't just focus on his primary assignment. What he does is he gets to the landmark, and then he gets his eyes on the quarterback to see what the quarterback is thinking, what the quarterback is doing, so he can get a tell on what the offensive play is actually going to be based on the defense. So Tyler Nubin gets his eyes on the quarterback, realizes the quarterback is not looking towards his initial assignment. So he starts to shift back towards the original position, the hash. And while the quarterback is uncorking this deep post that he believes is open, Tyler Nubin works underneath it and comes away with the interception. With his vision from depth, this guy has sensational plays like this, comes away with PBUs, comes away with interceptions, and that's a pretty damn athletic play to boot. Getting there, showing the natural receiving type of skills. You'll see it one more time. Fluid, fast, quick, make the interception. Excellent reactive quickness. Does a good job when he plants and drives downhill as well. All of that's enhanced by his processing, but he's more of a processor than he is a true athlete. It's something we're going to see a little bit later on. Again, I think he is a little bit tight-hipped, but he's not inept either. Here we're going to see some physicality at the catch point. Ball gets to the receiver. Tyler Nubin is able to get that inside arm into the elbow to break the wrist and break the contact of that wide receiver. And you see how he just punches it out. Well timed. Allows the receiver to make contact so he does not get the penalty. Still forces the PBU. Another backside vision. Just reading the quarterback. Read the quarterback. You can see Minnesota Golden Gophers use this a lot where it looked like pre-snap he was going to be a single high, but they inverted and they brought a cornerback typically to the field side to take a deep half responsibility. And then the other safety would take the other deep half responsibility. He would just sit in the middle of the field, use his vision, leverage his elite skills in that manner to just read what the offense is doing. And when he is reading, it's bad for the offense. You can see just why here. He could easily have taken the underneath route. This is a high-low concept. It ends up being. Now it's a little bit, it's not quite aligned, but you could see that first drag goes to those second-level defenders. Nubin doesn't break down on that. Nubin watches the quarterback, sees the quarterback is looking beyond that first in route to the backside dig, and then Nubin breaks on it and almost comes away with a pick. Just misses it. And he's pissed off at himself. He's pissed off at himself. Again, work into the catch point. You can see square. Follow the stripe of the helmet. Just follow the stripe, follow the stripe. Once the decision is made, work underneath. Try to get that interception. Great technique here. It's going to smooth backpedal. Here he's in a deep half, smooth backpedal. Right when, and he's looking through his assignment and to the quarterback. He sees the quarterback start to rear back to throw. The tight end starts to break down. And he just runs right through the catch point. Makes contact with the outside arm. Gets to the catch point with his inside arm. Good technique. Jerome Henderson would be proud. You can kind of see it from this angle, but yep, there. Good job by Tyler Nubin. Need a guy like this in coverage. Here we're going to have a play against Northwestern. Where Nubin is going to show physical nature. Ball gets to the hands of the wide receiver, but Nubin just plays right through it. Knocks the receiver out of bounds. No catch from a deep half. Simon. He has the range to play these deep half. Look, from the post to the single high, he can do it. It's not ideal because he's not the most fluid. Again, I think the range is maximized when he can stride out a little bit, but he's not a true single high type of player. But to the processing point, we're going to see on this play in the red zone, he's going to work to help out number 2, his cornerback, but then he gets his eyes towards the backside of his position, and he sees this route coming underneath. So he comes off of his initial assignment, sees that 6 is going to be wide open, and then works right underneath it, and then just barely tips the football, and the wide receiver can't come away with it. Now, is that transition overly smooth? No, but he's also at a very awkward position right there. Again, I don't believe his transitions are typically the smoothest to begin with, but they're functional. That's all I'm looking for, man. I'm looking for functionality, and I'm looking for an elite trait. What is Tyler Nubin's elite trait? Well, he's freaking smart as hell, as I made clear here. Again, break, and he's got explosiveness when he does click and close downhill, plant and drive. I wouldn't say he's the heaviest hitter as a safety. He's pretty conservative as a hitter, but he can lay solid hits. Now, this was a catch. I don't think he has the Jaden Hicks type of hitting ability, but he makes tackles, and he's a sure tackler, as we'll see as well. Here, watch him come downhill, off of the screen, catch made, make the tackle, wrap him up, drive him out. Now we're going to see him as a run support defender. He's going to be big nickel, big dime. Whenever Shane Bowen wants to run these 3 safety sets, Jason Pinnock and Tyler Nubin can both be this box type of safety. He's good enough in the box to do so. I think he was better in 2022 than he was in 2023. I don't think the PFF grades reflect that, but he has some really good tape in 2022 operating the box. There's probably some clips in here of him doing so. I also love how he disguises himself. Like you'll see it soon. He uses the umpire to his advantage. Works behind the umpire. Here you kind of see it, but there are other plays that better resemble what I'm talking about. On this play, just sifting through some traffic, coming downhill and filling. He does as well. Close to the line of scrimmage too. It doesn't have to be from depth. See on this play, just get to the outside, make your tackle, bring him down to the deck. Stay square, man. Stay square, break down, right? See how he breaks down, has a large tackle radius, make the tackle. See, he gets outside here. Nice and low hits. Here we see some pursuit. He's behind this ref, almost takes the ref out. Pursuit angles, solid, low, drive through. Here we see some hit power there. But again, not the biggest hitter, not in run support either. But all I want is a sure tackler. I don't need you to be wild with your technique. He had 198 snaps in the box this past season. Only missed 6 tackles, which was a 9.4% missed tackle rate. One of his better seasons with missed tackles. 2021 was not good. He had 21.3 missed tackle rate, so he did clean that up. And you can see a lot of these clips are from 2023. Some are from 2022, where he only had an 11.9 missed tackle rate, only one more missed tackle than he had in 2023. Good backside pursuit defender. Also has blitzing upside. I wouldn't say he's like the crispest blitzer, but again, once he gets going, he can move. And if he's coming from depth, similar to Jason Pinnock, he can be effective. Pinnock, I would say, is a better athlete overall than Tyler Nubin, though. I just love how he goes low into that tackle point. Be a sure tackler. This is a player, Tyler Nubin, who might see a 90% snap share with the Giants. Here's the play I was referring to before. He is hiding behind the official, just hiding. You can see the Purdue offensive linemen do not account for him. He comes right in, forces a fumble. Gets all excited. Get jazzed up. Big hit against Purdue again. I cut a lot of tape up for this, so I hope you guys are enjoying this. I don't need to commentate too much on it, but please just enjoy having a safety who was a sound tackler. I mean, the Giants had sound tackling safeties in recent memory. Julian Love was a sound tackling safety. Xavier McKinney was a sound tackling safety, but now you don't need to pay a safety $17 million to be a sound tackling safety. You get somebody who is very smart, like Xavier McKinney. I don't know if he's as versatile as Xavier McKinney, and I love how he was able to sniff out this misdirection play. I don't think he's as versatile as Xavier McKinney. I think Xavier McKinney can do a little bit more than Tyler Nubin. I think he's a better athlete than Tyler Nubin, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's a completely worse player than Xavier McKinney. I'm excited to see what he can do. Now, here are some of the negatives, though. Now, mind you, he was playing through a torn meniscus in this game. This was his last collegiate game against Wisconsin, and he's manned up against his number 2 receiver. Overall, even if he's healthy, I don't love Tyler Nubin in man coverage. Like, I think Xavier McKinney even coming out of college, was a much better man covering safety when he was at Alabama. And you can see some of the issues here. He gets blown by. This is a wide receiver, though, so it's a tough assignment on a deep corner route, especially when he's injured, to get there and to stop him from running that route when there's no contingency plan from the defense to help Nubin out. Now we're going to see him against his number 2 receiver. Look, the transition it's just awkward, right? Like it's not the smoothest. Again, playing through an injury, though. But even when I watched his 2022 tape, I didn't think he was a man cover type of safety, and he wasn't really asked to play man coverage either. It's not necessarily his game. It's much more of a depth type of guy. He's much more of a, I'm going to win because I'm going to be in position always. And when he's not in position, the recovery speed, as you can see on the play running right now, it's not elite. I don't think it's terrible, but it's not great. And those are some of the reasons why I don't think he can handle every responsibility to a high degree at the next level. Here are some missed tackles and some poor angles in run support. And I don't think this is consistent with his tape, but I wanted to put this on the film because it does highlight some athletic limitations and some tightness when he doesn't process what he's seeing as optimally as he usually does. You'll see that here. He's going to come downhill and look, took a bad angle. Now he's trying to get back outside the numbers. And if you have speed and acceleration, you can blow by him. So some issues in that regard. You'll see it again. Again, this is against Wisconsin, though. Just the speed gets him, and he can't track down the running back, and it ends up being a touchdown. So little plays like that, they could come up, and it could be annoying in coverage on his tape. But overall, I think he's functional as an athlete, as I think Theo Johnson is functional as a blocker. Functional is the word we're going to use for this draft class. They are smart, they are tough, and they are dependable. Here, this is just a bad judgment by Tyler Nubin, where he's trying to play inside, and I guess he just doesn't account for the fact that there's a lot of space towards that back pylon. But this is a great throw by the quarterback and a good catch by this receiver to get 1 foot in bounds for a touchdown. Nubin on this play. Love how he comes downhill and just makes this stick. Not a negative play here. Just wanted to showcase the plant and drive. So you can see he's planting that foot. Quarterback's winding up. Once the receiver catches it, tries to spin out of Tyler Nubin. Tyler Nubin makes this tackle, throws him to the deck. And I absolutely love this play in a high leverage situation by Tyler Nubin. You can see how the receiver number 83, he motioned outward. So you have all of this that you have to account for as a defense. Tyler Nubin is communicating with his defensive back. He's pointing at number 83. And this is a good offensive play to distract Tyler Nubin. But Tyler Nubin sees through this kind of junk, right? The tight end runs directly at Nubin, goes outside of Nubin, and number 2 sinks, and Nubin comes off of the tight end. He doesn't get occupied by the tight end too long. He notices that this is a pivot route from the original number 1 wide receiver, comes off it, and then just lays a huge stick right at the goal line and keeps the wide receiver out. This is a huge play by Tyler Nubin that shows toughness, that shows processing, that shows grit. Here we're going to see Nubin as a blitzer, just comes in and forces that fumble. I think we saw this play a little bit earlier from a different angle. Similar to Jason Pinnock, that acceleration, large frame, big-bodied safety could be effective as a blitzer from the second level. And there's a quick breakdown of Tyler Nubin. I'm a fan of this draft pick, and I know he's not an elite athlete, has some athletic limitations, a little bit of tightness. I don't think he's a deficient athlete. I don't think he's going to be a liability or a vulnerability. I think what Joe Shane said is very accurate. This was a culture-changing type of player at Minnesota. That's what the Giants want him to be for their defense. They have a couple of these guys. They have a young defensive core that Joe Shane also discussed earlier this week. And I think Tyler Nubin slides into this defense, whether it's Shane Bowen as a defense coordinator or somebody else. You need smart, communicative, processing type of safeties who understand what the offense is doing because they do so much film work and because they have elite instincts. Tyler Nubin has that. And when you combine that with elite ball skills, you create turnovers. And when you create turnovers, you win football games. And that's what Tyler Nubin is brought here to do. Plus, he is much better in run support than a lot of the safeties that the Giants currently have on the roster. So you have great run support, ball skills, processing, preparation, everything that the Giants want in a safety. Smart, tough, and dependable. So I'll take all of those traits along with average athletic ability and be completely fine with that in the second round. He was my number 1 safety for a reason, and I'm really glad he is a New York Football Giant. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into this. My Big Blue Banter faithful, thank you so much. Please like, comment, say I'm dumb, agree with this. That's awesome. It's Nick Falato signing off. There'll be more content coming shortly.